I said.
Without objection, gentleman from Alabama is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Attorney General, what was your understanding of Jack Smith's reputation in the legal community?
Reputation was he had the highest reputation for both ethics and skill at being a career prosecutor.
Were you aware that individuals who had worked with him noted that, and I quote this, overzealous prosecutor who relies on ethically dubious tactics while investigating or prosecuting criminal cases? Were you aware of that?
I don't know what anonymous source you're citing there, but I certainly wasn't aware of it, no.
Well, let me cite another source to you. Are you aware that Mr. Smith's conviction against former Republican Virginia Governor Robert F. McDonnell and his wife, whom he accused of accepting payments and gifts in violation of federal corruption laws, was unanimously overturned by the Supreme Court? Are you aware of that?
Yeah, my understanding is from that is Supreme Court actually changed its view of that particular law. We respect the Supreme Court's ultimate determination. That has nothing to do with Mr. Smith.
Let me read you a quote from Chief Justice Roberts. He rebuked Mr. Smith's theory of case writing. Our concern is with the broader legal implications of the government's boundless interpretation of the federal bribery statute, which did not comport with the text of the statute or the precedent in the court. Does Mr. Smith's prior boundless interpretation of federal laws concern you?
Mr. Smith's case was supported by the Justice Department on appeal and by the Solicitor General's office. We respect the decision of the Supreme Court in their interpretation and narrowing of our anti-corruption statute.
Have you received any briefings from the department, from Jack Smith, concerning the prosecution of President Trump? Have you received any subsequent briefings?
Have I received briefings from
Yes.
Mr. Smith? Yes, that's part of the special counsel regulations.
So I'm going to change gears here for a second. We talk a lot in here about the attack of the rule of law and embracing misinformation. Do you see that the American people, the number one thing I see when I'm touring the district, or at least in 21, not anymore it's the border, but in 21, Mr. Garland, it was a concern for the weaponization of the government against U.S. citizens. What do you think is driving the concern?
I think when people say over and over the word weaponization, it can have an effect on people's belief, whether it's founded or unfounded.
Do you think it might be founded based on the Durham report, when Durham himself said that he was extremely concerned with the way that Comey, the FBI director, Lynch, and those knew that the DNC was driving the Russian collusion narrative, and then they went out and opened an investigation? Do you think maybe those kind of things, maybe impeaching him twice, maybe arresting him, maybe raiding his home? For the first time ever, we've actually indicted a president. Do you think maybe those are more the reason that people are starting to lose trust in the justice system than maybe anything we're saying here on the Hill?
Mr. Durham was reporting at events that occurred in administration before I was Attorney General.
But does it still not erode the credibility of the Department of Justice and justice in America, the rule of law, when things like what happened last week start to happen that have never happened before in the history of the country? Do you think that maybe has more to do with this than what we're saying here?
When you're referring to last week, you're referring to a decision by a jury in a state case unrelated to the Department of Justice. I'm not going to comment on that jury verdict.
So what about $200 million in donations in less than maybe 48 hours? Do you think maybe that's sending a message that maybe the people in America are not living in a bubble? Maybe we are. Maybe it's not what we're saying. Maybe it's what we're doing. Maybe that carries more weight, what we do, than what we say here.
Well, I do think that what we do is more important than what we say, and I think the Justice Department should be evaluated by its acts, and I think the Justice
It is being
Department
evaluated by its
appropriately.
acts.
You're talking about fundraising related to something that happened in New York.
I'm talking about a jury verdict. Anywhere in the political world, if you're indicted, normally that's campaign over. If you're convicted of felonies, you can consider your campaign over. Why would the American people, 30% who had never donated to a campaign, give $200 million to a man that you just charged with 34 felonies?
You are asking me a political question that I am not qualified.
I'm telling you, sir, we're making the justice system political. That's what's going on in America. And the people are waking up. It's not us saying it here. Not the weaponization of government here. It's the grassroots of America asking us those very questions. And when you convict a man, or at least try to convict a man and charge a man, and they donate $200 million in 48 hours, sir, they're sending a signal they have lost all trust in this system.
I think we all have a responsibility to respect jury verdicts, and a failure to respect jury verdicts.
It's the way that we arrive at the verdict. I think that's the problem. And the American people see it, sir. And under your watch, the system is losing credibility. It concerns me for this country and certainly for the future of the direction of the Department of Justice. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentlelady from Georgia is recognized. Hey, Kelly.
A.G. Garland, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for all that you